If you live here, bought here, sold here, or even just watch the headlines the last few years, you know we've been in a wild run. Bidding wars, no conditions offers, properties selling in days, and prices printing like they were late for a flight. But 2026 is a different chapter. Not a crash, not a party, more like the market sobering. And today, I'm breaking down 5 unexpected truths from the Calgary Real Estate Board 2026 forecast that most people will make. And I will tell you exactly what this means if you are a buyer, a seller, a homeowner, an investor, or a renter. Because in a rebalancing market, strategy matters more than hype. The number one truth is that the market is tipping toward buyers, but not evenly. According to CREB, balance to buyers market conditions are expected to persist in 2026, depending on property type. So that depending on property type is everything. Here is where the market is rebalancing. One, supply is improving across the new home, rental, and resale markets. Two, demand is normalizing, mainly because migration is slowing and job growth is cooling. Kreb notes that in 2025, the market transitioned from seller favored to more balanced conditions because supply improved at the same time demand returned closer to typical levels. That's the pressure release valve. So, what does that mean in real life? If you are a buyer, you are getting something Calgary buyers haven't had in a while. More choice, more time, more negotiating power. And if you are a seller, the list it and they will fight era is fading. Nobody fights over listings anymore. You can still sell well, but you will need pricing discipline and presentation excellence. Buyer moves in 2026. You want to stop shopping like it's 2022 when conditions bring conditions back when it makes sense, negotiate repairs, negotiate price, and negotiate possession. For seller moves in 2026, we recommend you don't chase down the market with overpriced listings, price to win early, make your home the obvious best option in its category. Now, here is where it gets really surprising, and we are now to truth number two. Not all prices are rising. In fact, the forecast says apartments and townhomes are set to drop. These particular categories of properties are set to drop. CREB is projecting apartment benchmark price down 3.5% to 310,000 in 2026. Road townhouse benchmark price down 1.9% to 433,000 in 2026. Meanwhile, detached benchmark price is expected to be basically flat at 754,000 with 1% growth. Semi-detached 0.8% growth, and overall CREB expect total residential price to ease slightly with total residential price growth forecast to drop by 0.1%. So why will condos and townhouses soften while detached homes stay stable? It comes down to one word: supply. CREB explains that 2025's record high stats are now pushing a wave of supply into the system as units get completed. Let me give you a condo specific example from the report. Apartment resale activity in 2025 was 5,427 sales, and inventories hit record highs at around 1,786. CREB knows that by the end of 2025, apartment prices were already down from their 2024 peaks, and they expect excess supply to persist in 2026, driving further price reductions. So, more listings, more competition, and more rentals available, and this equals less urgency to buy an apartment condo. For row homes, the report says new listings hit record highs and inventories rose to levels not seen since 2019, with further downward pressure expected in 2026. What buyers should do with this? If you are a first-time buyer, newcomer, or downsizer shopping condos or townhomes, 2026 could give you a rare window to buy with leverage. That means you negotiate hard, you are picky, you don't ignore condo documents and all the necessary due diligence you have to do. You don't overpay just because 2024 felt hot. What sellers should do with this also is that if you are selling a condo or townhouse in 2026, you are not competing with just resale listings, you are competing with new builds, investors, and rentals. So your edge becomes the conditions that you'll be encountering, pricing, and how your unit shows versus the competition. Now, let's talk about the biggest engine that powered the boom and where it's slowing down hard. And that takes us to truth number three. Migration is cooling sharply. We had home prices rise that much because of migration. Now that is cooling. And this is a big deal because from 2022 to 2024, population growth was gasoline on Calgary's housing market. But CREB highlights a major shift using Alberta's migration data. From the first three quarters of 2024 to the first three quarters of 2025, international migration fell by 82%. That's huge. Interprovincial migration fell by 43%. And the report expects migration to ease further in 2026 as fewer international migrants are allowed in and more temporary residents leave. CREP forecasts Calgary's population growth slowing to 1.3% in 2026, down from 3% in 2025. Alberta population growth slowing to 1.5 in 20% in 2026, down from 2.5% in 2025. Now, important nuance. CREP also says that this is not the old pre-pandemic situation where more people were leaving Alberta than coming in. So it's not a demand collapse, it's a demand normalization. And when demand normalizes while supply rises, that is how you move into balance or buyer leaning conditions. So here is a buyer takeaway you want to look at. You see fewer panic offers, less we have to buy today, more opportunity to align the purchase with your actual financial plan. And for investor takeaway, the automatic appreciation mindset becomes riskier. You want deals where the math works, even if prices stay flat. Now let's zoom into jobs because this part surprises a lot of people. And that takes us to truth number four. The job market looks strong until you zoom in. Krebs says Alberta is expected to remain a national growth leader, but Calgary's employment picture is more nuanced. In the report, employment growth is forecast to slow to 0.4% in 2026, down from 4.3% in 2025. Unemployment is expected to remain elevated at 7.4% in 2026, only slightly better than 7.5% in 2025. Crave explains something that really matters. Even when jobs grew in 2025, unemployment stayed high because the labor force grew faster than jobs. So what does this mean for housing? Krebs says it plainly. Slower growth or slower job growth in 2026 is expected to temper housing demand. So if you are a buyer, this is where you don't buy based on optimism alone. You buy based on stability, stable income, stable budget, stable mortgage payments. And if you are renewing a mortgage in 2026, you need to plan like an adult, not like a gambler. And if you are a seller, buyers will be more cautious, more paperwork, more conditions, more let me think. And this is where staging and pricing aren't optional in 2026 if you are a seller. Now, let's talk about a group that has been getting hit the hardest the last few years, renters. And that takes us to truth number five. Renters are about to get relief, not because landlords got nicer, but because the market dynamics are shifting. Kreb point to two forces hitting at the same time. One, record levels of purpose-built rental construction, and two, a pullback in international migration. The report says there are 11,801 purpose-built rental units under construction in Calgary right now, expected to be completed over the next several years. And the scale of supply coming relative to migration suggests vacancy rates will remain elevated through 2026. The report even shows 2025 vacancy rates by zone, including the Northwest at 6%, Inner City 5.4, Fish Creek 4.6, Southeast 2.9. This data actually, I believe, is worse than that. And it lists the average two-bedroom rent around 1,900 for Calgary with variation by zone. So what happens when vacancies rise? You get more options, more incentives, less bidding wars on rentals, and downward pressure on asking rent. So rental strategy for 2026 is that one, you take your time, you negotiate your rent, you ask for incentives, look at newer supply areas where landlords are competing, and if ownership is a goal, use the common market to prepare your down payment, work on your credit, and set everything in place to buy. Investor strategy for 2026, be careful assuming rent growth will bail you out. Underwrite conservatively, run your numbers well, and focus on properties that can cash flow under realistic rent and vacancy assumptions. Now, before I wrap this up, I want to quickly cover the wildcard risk the report highlights. Wildcards, talking about tariffs, energy, and rates. CREP outline risk in both directions. Downward risk, which is US tariffs and renegotiating uncertainty around trade, could create downside pressure on economic conditions in 2026. And the upside risk, shift in regulatory policy that impact the energy sector, could support stronger investment activity and confidence, which could increase jobs and migration sooner than expected. But the report also notes a weaker energy price environment is expected to prevent growth in energy investment this year, with Western Texas Intermediate forecast around $65 per barrel in 2026, down from $77 in 2025. And on rates, the report references expectations that the Bank of Canada is likely done cutting rates in 2026, with an overnight target rate forecast shown at 2.25% across 2026 quarters. So the baseline forecast is normalization, but economic can surprise us. So plan with flexibility. What do we do next? So what is the big picture for Calgary real estate in 2026? It's not boom, it's not bust. It's a segmented market where some property types soften, others stabilize, and your result depends on your strategy. So here is my simple playbook. If you are a buyer, look for leverage, negotiate, be patient, and buy what fits your life and budget, not what fits a headline. If you are a seller, price right. Price is everything. We say that all the time. Present well, it has to be in good presentation. Expect that buyers will come with conditions and aim to be the best option in your category. If you are an investor, stop relying on appreciation. Make sure the deal works with conservative rents and realistic vacancy. If you are a renter, you may finally have room to breathe. Use 2026 to negotiate, stabilize, and prepare for ownership if that is your goal. Now, I want to hear from you. Which part of this 2026 forecast surprised you most? The buyer shift, the condo price declines, the migration slowdown, or the rental relief? Drop it in the comment section. If you want my help building a 2026 plan, whether you are buying, selling, investing, or renewing, message me or DM me the word forecast, or you can just contact me through my description, my contact in the description below, and I will send you a simple strategy checklist tailored to your situation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who is still stuck in the past 2024 thinking, or anyone that is interested in knowing what is happening in the market right now, because 2026 will reward people who are ready to embrace the changes we are experiencing. This report is from Calgary Real Estate Board, Krebs reports for the Calgary real estate market and surrounding communities for 2026. Things may change down the road, but I'm just giving you this, I'm just providing you this so that you know what to expect. Until next time, the name is Conrad, and see you in the next video. Bye.